been lots of changes on their offense already, but not any on the defense. It's still an opportunistic defense. You guys obviously need to take better care of the football in this one to have a chance.
Right. They made the plays we did in the first time around, and credit them. They're a good defense. We said going into that game that it might be the best defense we play all year, and we'll still say that.
The turnovers haven't been an issue though for you since that game. That was an emphasis in the offseason. Was that kind of disappointing that you came out in that opener and did that, and after it had been the emphasis throughout the offseason?
Well, of course. Anytime you turn the ball over, you get disappointed. It was one of those games, whether it was elements, them making plays, us not making plays. There are a lot of factors involved, but at the end of the day, they made the plays and made us turn the ball over.
Ben, what allows them to be so good at turning people over?
Well, I think it's a couple things. It starts with the pass rush. Obviously, Miles is one of the best in the business. He's long. He gets after the quarterback, gets good jumps on the snap, and then in the secondary, they catch the ball. We always joke defenders play defense because they can't catch, but they can catch the ball, and they don't just bat it down. They make plays.
What's the challenge offensively to pick back up where you left off coming out of the bye week here?
Try and start fast. We've been the last couple of weeks we've been doing that. We've been playing well offensively, but we can't take a half to get going. We've got to get going early.
You felt pretty confident that UNAB would get a rhythm eventually. What was the catalyst for that the last couple of games?
Just sticking to it, not worrying about what the outside world has to say or people, because we know what we have.
How beneficial is it with the bye week in terms of rest, and how much is it disruptive to a rhythm?
I think it can be disruptive if you let it be. You always want one about midway through the season. This is about as early as you want one. But you know what? It's for us. It's a time to get ourselves ready to go and really make a big push for the second half.
You hate to miss a week in October because you've been pretty good in October over the course of your career.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully we can keep it going this week, though.
Ben, you have a lot of familiarity with the Ravens and the Bengals because mostly veteran teams. A lot of young guys with the Browns. How long does it take you to get a beat on their tendencies and talking about their corners and their
right? Yeah, I mean, it could take some time. Obviously, their coordinator is one that has been around for a long time, and you can get defensive tendencies in terms of calls and things like that. But in terms of players, it definitely takes at least one, maybe two times around. So we'll watch as much film as we can to prepare as best we can.
And did you see some of the teams going for two at crucial moments the last couple of days, like the Titans tried to win the game with a 2-point?
I did see that. Them and the Giants, I think.
Yeah, you guys have had a history of that, being aggressive. Mm-hmm. Do you still pick the menu of plays each week just in case and go through that?
Going into every game, we pick out our top 5 favorites. You look last week in Cincinnati, we had to do it, I think, twice there at the end of the game. So, it's always a coach's call what we're going to do, but we always think we have a good menu going in.
What do you think of that go for 2 when you cut a 14-point lead to 8? I think that's what they did. When I saw it on TV, I thought it was kind of a head scratcher. I didn't know what was going on, but then I saw afterwards they said that the percentage was good, or I don't understand the whole I don't understand the whole math part of it, but ultimately I think a coach has to decide, because Coach Tomlin and I have that discussion before every game, before the game starts, like, are we going to go for 2 on the first play or not, or first score or not, and ultimately it comes down to a coach's feel, I think. How's my offense playing? How's my defense playing? What's the momentum of the game like? I think all those things need to be taken into consideration.
But are you aware of this whole thing with Derek Carr about showing emotions on the field?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Some of his teammates, I guess he was sacked, and some of his teammates claim that he was crying. I'm wondering, is there ever an acceptable time in a football game or in a locker room for football players to show emotion?
Well, I think as men in general, we all need to show emotion. I think there's a misconception out there that as men we shouldn't show emotion, and I think that's wrong. I think we need to show emotion, whether it's at a movie if you want to cry, if it's funny, if it's sad, if you want to be around your wife or girlfriend, and just because you cry doesn't mean you're any less manly. I think that's a false narrative, and so when it comes to football, if something hurts, I mean, he might have been hurting, who knows. I know I've cried in the locker room before from both joy and pain. You lose a football game, if you're not showing emotion, if he's or if he gets up from something like that and he's laughing, then he's going to get chastised for not showing enough emotion. So I don't know exactly the story you're talking about, but for me, I don't think it makes us any less manly to show emotion.
And did you spend bye week kind of evaluating where the offense is, and if so, what do you like about through the first 6 weeks, and what are you working on through the last 10 here?
Just getting better, not turning the ball over. I think that's been a negative for me in the first, I don't say half because we're not the half yet, but the first part of the season. I hate when we turn the ball over. Hate when we lose football games. But I think if you look at positives, I think we're getting better. Every week. I think the line has been no sacks the last 2 games. That's always a positive for me. I think James Conner is getting better, and that's always a positive for our team and for our run game. And he's getting better in the pass game. Plus, AB's making plays, so that makes everybody happy.
With the bye, do you still take Wednesday off, or do you? Because you had last week off.
Right. You'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to divulge any secrets.
2 more for Benny.
How do you think James is ready to handle the workload coming off the bye, and you guys relying on him more?
Well, I think he's going to be well rested. I think his body probably feels pretty good, as we all should. And so I'm excited for him to really get a push and even be more involved than he has been.
Speaking of body feeling good, you said ask in week 8 how you felt playing at a lighter weight. Here we are, week 8.
So week 8? Not quite week 8 yet, is it?
Week 8 of the season, not week 8, game 8. But.
Well, I meant game 8. Sorry.
Okay. How do you feel? You feel any different later?
Yeah, I do. I feel better. Just especially my knees, less stress. I've had a couple of knee surgeries, and for those not to have fluid on them or have to ice them after every day really is beneficial, especially playing at home with the kids.